I can change everything.
Yeah.
We're going to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got it.
That's it.
You're giving permission to broadcast.
Hey, we're on the BBC.
Hello, Susan. We are live right now.
Wait a minute, your picture's gone now.
You're certainly live on. You're on YouTube right now, and you've come into my personal.
Exactly. I can't see you though. I can't see you. Is that the oh, there you are.
Hey.
Sorry. Yay.
So,
this is a bit impromptu video. Yes, exactly.
Right. Well, you've reached me, and how we got in touch. How did you've got in touch with me? I mean, take it from the beginning, please.
Exactly. Well, I got in touch with you obviously through Mind Over Matter, Jay Downey's site, when I seen your podcast, and obviously linked onto your page and stuff. And then I sent you a couple of messages, and sort of here we are. So I wasn't intending to video call you tonight. I was just trying to text you, but here we go. We're on live. We are.
And you want to interview me, so you know what? I love it. Interviewing skills, just be yourself and fire away those questions. Because what do you know about me? Because you did click on, you looked at one of my videos. You call them podcasts. I don't. I call them live. Live streaming.
Know that much about you. I mean, I've looked at your Facebook page, and I've watched that YouTube video this afternoon. So I don't really know, but when I've listened to your podcasts or on your Facebook page, you're very eloquent with your words. You seem very empathic. You seem quite knowledgeable of, situations, whether, it's trauma or suicide, depression, whatever. And I like the way that you spoke. For me, it was sincere and came from the heart. Obviously I've watched other people, and sometimes it's coming from their backside and not from their head. But they're
different love language. I call it love. I call them love languages. They're different love languages, and that's something that we will get to understand as we go through understanding depression. And communication is the love languages we speak between one another.
Absolutely. And as a person who's suffered from chronic depression, anxiety, I was diagnosed with BPD, and now it's possibly CPTSD. I don't know. As we said, it's labelled.
For the viewers, let me break down BPD, borderline personality disorder. What's that? Because I have EUPD. That's the lovely label they gave me, which represents my past, my trauma. Everything under a box is represented by a lovely little package called EUPD or BPD, another label for it, which a lot of people are so hung up on their labels that it's actually never actually explained.
Well, I wanted to know what was my problem, what it was, what label it was, because for me that helped me research, Google, look up, the different symptoms of BPD, and let me listen to other people's videos or their stories to see,
I found that particularly reading one of the books supported by the NHS, I found one of those books that were given to us to describe what it is, what borderline personality disorder is. Very alarming and very disturbing. It left no sort of. It actually does promote a method in there, and it shouldn't. So I brought that out to the attention.
And it's one of those ones I don't think psychiatrists or doctors are too sure about, or they're not. It's not recognised, or
you find a lot of people don't do it. I mean, there's so many people with that label around us, but when it's not something we go around broadcasting, hey, look at me, I've got EUPD or BPD or bipolar or schizophrenia. It's not something you want to go out and tell anyone, because you want to feel accepted as the same as everybody else. But yes, we might struggle with different emotions, so I'm not going to use the word in the terms of how the council, and I use the word council, would label more vulnerable over an ordinary vulnerable, and that's how they like to describe how, instead of using the word normal, they use to describe how vulnerable are you over somebody else's vulnerability. And I think with the borderline personality disorders, yes, I believe it's a label that describes a whole package of wealth of emotions. It doesn't break down what the current issue is of what's making you depressed. But I think that in itself, when we're looking for an answer about how we can stop this pain, how can we stop the cycle, how can we stop the thought process, if you're going to go to a book, it's going to say, oh, it'll be finished in a couple of days. You go up and you go down. We know we go up and go down, but you're still looking for a little bit of a smoother ride for a little bit longer than normal, you know, and how can we get to that smooth ride without feeling full of anxiety? What is anxiety to you, Susan? What is anxiety to you?
Oh, it's feelings of not being in control, sweating, getting frustrated, shaking, my arms, limbs. That sort of.
That describes your symptoms, but what you're worried about is not put on the table. You see, so a lot of people say, oh, I've got anxiety, but you know, and that seems to be the more important part about how they struggle to breathe and what was going on for the emotion, rather than actually get to the bullet point of why have you got anxiety? What's going on here? What's the worst that can happen? Is it really there? Is it really happening? Just a thought. What is the worst can happen? It's just breaking it down. First of all, getting in touch with yourself. So what do you do when you're having you're anxious about something and probably leads into a little panic attack? What do you do to halt that?
It depends on where I am. If I'm in the house, I might go and tackle some housework or take it out and vent on that. If I'm outside, if I'm in the shopping centre, I tend to take myself out of the shopping centre so I can get some fresh air. Or like the other week there, I was standing waiting to get my prescription, and I was starting to get a bit hot and a bit sweaty, and I thought, just a big queue, and I'm thinking, oh, I can't stand queues. So it was like looking at the shelf thinking, all right, there's Sudocrem, there's such and such, there's such and such, trying to take my mind off what I was thinking. And I also was told, like, you know, what can you hear, what can you smell, what can you see, what can you feel? Sort of 5 things to try and take yourself out of your head and into the sort of space that you're in.
Distraction technique. That's the word for it. So, and the one that I teach people when I can feel them getting anxious or crying or whatever, it's not just because for me, when I get anxious, first thing that will go is my throat. That's the first thing that will go. My voice box changes. It's more high pitched. It's more struggling to get the words out. And that will be the first thing I notice. And that's something like, can I control that before it gets out of hand? Can I stop that where it's literally like something squeezing my vocal cords when I'm upset? And can I get a grip of that? You know, and I think to calm down, because that's something I really have noticed that does happen to me when I'm anxious. And can I calm down? Because what I don't want to do is go back to any old coping strategy. So what I'm doing is learning to talk. That's what I've learned to do. Instead of getting frustrated, I've learned to sort of take that frustration out and do a live talk. I speak. And here we are speaking my love language. A lot of other people are being connected to this love language that I speak, and looking for remedies and solutions to replacing the old techniques. I don't like.
I was going back to asking you before we started the live there that you know, going back to when you had like your traumas and everything that was going on, where do you, because obviously you come across as very strong, mindset. And I just think, where did you get that motivation, or that, you know, that self-esteem, that confidence? Because sometimes I find I'm lacking in motivation. It's, I can't be arsed. I just can't be bothered. Where does that come from?
So on the outside world, you're looking on the outside world.
Yes. This is what you see in the outside.
If you feel that my talking and my videos and the publicizing that I do, I do a lot of awareness videos, do some interviewing. Look, the interviewing for me is a conversation. I love a conversation.
Exactly.
I used to feel lonely, so I replaced the loneliness with a conversation. Okay, it fills my day, and what I'm doing is I'm finding out and exploring about life, and I'm figuring out how the mind works. I'm figuring out how people react, because I was accustomed to certain reactions throughout my life, and that was abuse. So everything was abuse, even down to asking for help within the system. You know, the system would be like, no, not today, no, you can't have it, or whatever. So you were up against that struggle, and it was that no, constant no that nearly killed me. It was that constant, that control that nearly killed me. And I got to the point where it was, I think the homeless journey did it for me.
All right.
I once helped people when I had shelter. I once helped people to try and get back on their feet, not knowing what I was doing, but I was just one of those that stopped and went, why are you on the street? Why? I mean, surely. And I was one of those people that felt, this is really bad.
Something.
I've got a spare room at home, but I'm going to go home. Oh my God. And my conscience got the better of me, and I had to, why on the street? Why isn't somebody helping? I literally had to apply something that, do you know the way that these people can get some help? Maybe you've got a telephone, maybe you've got a hot meal, maybe you've got a blanket you can give them. And so I started to go live. And can I have an interview? I said, oh, I'm going to be an interviewer. And I started to do this interviewing live in the street and finding out. And these people were just the night before trying to end their life. You know. They've just lost their missus or someone to heroin and addiction. And I needed to know what the methadone program was. I had to learn about that. I had to understand what addiction was, what it's like to clean up somebody's body and their bits, and see their bits hanging, you know, bits all over the place. I'll keep that a little bit sensitive. You know, and then help the person that's lost their loved one to clean that place up where there once was death. I had to learn what it was like to help somebody raise funds so they can have shelter and have a home. If I could just knock and ask an estate agent if there's a home for someone, perhaps he would say yes, but we need the money. Oh gosh, where am I going to get the money from? I've got no money. Hi, you've got a function. Yeah, I like what you're doing. You can hold this in aid of us if you want to help the people. As long as you can keep the receipts and show where the money's going, then you can make that difference. I did do a first fundraising event, raise the money for homeless individual. His name was Chad. It's well documented, to get his home. He was from Ireland. And you know, the Irish, no blacks, no dogs, etc.
It's a bit like the Scottish.
So it also taught him culture differences. So here's a man that don't trust human beings. He's a man that doesn't communicate with somebody efficiently because of he's scared. He's a little boy trapped in a big man's body. He's had so much damage done to him. This is what he told publicly anyway. And I just wanted to help another human up. And so I found myself up against the council, who just I find overlook vulnerability or don't understand the word. They see the word mental health, but they don't understand what it in details, that struggle. Maybe somebody's been raped. Maybe they've got to recover from that. Maybe they've had child abuse. Maybe they've got to recover from that. Maybe they've been trafficked. Maybe they've got to recover from that. On top of what you're doing to them, on top of them losing their home, on top of them not got no money or food, maybe they've got to recover from that. So you'll find that within recovery of us, we've got a mountain to climb. And so it's just knocking off those steps as we get to the top. But as we get nearer and nearer and we start to enjoy, we sometimes are up against more hurdles. I always call that the enemy is attacking you and you're doing something right. Okay. And I feel that when you can be attacked through people, objects, whatever, depends how you're thinking for the day, as well. Your mind, your boundaries are really important about boundaries. And I had to learn what boundaries were. I had to learn discipline. I had to learn timekeeping. I had to learn respect me, know when to say, I can't do it. Learn when to say, learn to speak out and say, just please show me the way. And the amount of times over the years, even this year, I sat there and I will write and say, please, someone show me the way. I need to get to the next level. And I will knock. And I'm still, even if I'm in business, I'm still saying, please show me the way. This is all new to me. I don't know about this. I need to know this. I need to know that. And then I can move on to help people more. And sometimes that door is just... keep knocking. It's like that story of Mary and Jesus, and she's given birth. You just got to keep knocking on the doors and never giving up, because I can't revert back. I don't want to revert back to the past.
No, that's what I was trying to. I mean, obviously, you're doing either you're just that kind of a very inquisitive or helpful, empathic person that just has that need to help somebody else. Has that always been there? You know, have you always been?
I think you'll find a lot of carers have a history and a past. I'm going to put that one out there. And well done for the work of being empathetic and helping other people. But you'll find that a lot of carers have a very, very deep, dark past. Now, if that doesn't apply to you, carer, that you'll listen to that, please just be, that this is, if this is not relatable to you, then it's just not relatable. But if you are a carer, and I speak to a lot of people why they do care work, and you'll find that they've got some kind of dark history and somewhere of depression, and so they keep focusing on somebody else actually helps them, because they feel that they feel useful. And I felt very useful, and I think that I like to feel useful as part of me. And if people say that you're not good enough,
you have that with people because you've been there, done that, and worn the t-shirt
all our life. We've been told we're not good enough. Somebody said you couldn't do this, you can't do that, and this is hence why we've got the labels, because of it's either been physically imposed on us, and definitely mentally imposed on us about our worth, and that self-esteem had been knocked down.
That's what I'm beginning to come to realize. And sometimes you think because you've got all this trauma and stuff going on that you're this weak person who is not good enough, etc. But to be honest, and if you take a step back, you actually think, God, I am resilient, I am strong, I am capable of doing everything, because I've come through life through all these different traumas, and I'm still here today. And actually, I probably have got more empathy and understanding for people with mental health problems than some of these bloody GPs and psychiatrists and the rest of them, because we connect on the same level and we understand and get each other.
I think what bothers me more, I think, when I analyze life, my own life particularly, I'm good at, I can help people, I'm relatable, and I do get a lot of thank yous, and I'm like, okay, great, and that really boosts me up as well. We want to feel complimented, we want to feel encouraged, because we haven't had that. And I think, when I'm 51 now, and I'm saying it's only been 3 years in my recovery. 3. They say recovery lasts a long time. It can, if you identify that's when you start in your recovery. But because you're living with that emotion where it's one day you're up, the next minute I don't feel right. Something doesn't feel right. I'm off balance. Why? And you've got to sit there and look why you're miserable. Why are you feeling this way? And it could be something that you've watched. It could be something how you've been mistreated or whatever. And you go back and you analyze every frigging inch of someone's words. Even when I get off of here, I'll probably be analysing or play back the video. What did I say? How did I look? Who's going to judge me? Because you're still trying to overcome the judgment. And that's the biggest issue, isn't it? Judgment. Will you, and acceptance. And I think I've many of times I've said, I don't want to be here anymore. They're telling me that even when I started a business, I felt really happy. And then some people were like, she don't know what she's doing. She's this, she's that. And I realized it's just those people that just wanted something from me that I couldn't give them. And they tried to run before they could crawl. And you find some people trying to control me. And that's what I found. Still people trying to control me. And so it's a very strong lesson that I had to learn. I've been bullied. I've been online cyber bullied through people thinking, and for me in my head, you're discriminating. And I'm looking for a reason why you don't like me by your actions and what you're doing to me. And I have to think, well, is it because you just don't like what I'm doing? I'm actually doing something. Is it because I've got reasons? Is it because of the color of my skin? Is it because I've said no to you? Is it because of what? And I have to figure out, is it me? Is it them? Or is it just part of the path? And so what I realize is now I say there's lessons in both sides of the journey when we're meeting one another. And it's understanding what somebody needs, wants, where they need directing, but also not having an expectation of an individual, because it is those expectations that are chaining someone. You know, you're my mum, you better do as you're told. You're my, you're my wife. You're my sister. There's an expectation of how you should be when deep down you're a human with just another label and title.
Exactly.
So helping others keeps me motivated, because I'm in control of my timekeeping. That makes a big difference. I'm in control of my planning, which makes a big difference. Now, if I went to work for somebody else and they told me I wasn't good enough, it would put me right back down and my self-esteem. So I work for myself. Okay.
Good on you, Bill.
I created the platform to help other people. I thought I could just raise awareness here. I can bring people together. I can get people to tell their stories and what it means to survive, what it means to be listened to. And I felt, if I create a company, and I only did that, I don't even know how I did it. And I think one messenger leads to another messenger, leads to a door opening. And I was in a crisis at the time, and I was being mistreated by housing, and I don't mind to say, mistreated by a estate agent, don't mind to say, mistreated by a neighbour, don't mind to say, and mistreated by the police, don't mind to say. They were all injustices. And I realised that if I let people say no to me in a crisis when I'm being a victim, just like I've seen everybody else being a victim of situations, then they're going to kill me. There's no chance for anyone, because they're going to whittle down my state of mind. And it's like being trapped and someone's persecuting you on a daily basis. You go to the police, you go to the council, you go to the mental health services, and you're battered around like this while they use the term safeguarding. Who's safeguarding? What does safeguarding really look like? Okay, because safeguarding means a responsibility. You have the responsibility to see that that person's welfare is put first, and that they're not at risk, they're not subjected to abuse. So when people say, I'll get back to you in 20 days, and there's a safeguarding issue, what dangers are they in currently and still going on? I found myself in a situation, living in a situation for 5 months, and I had an advocate working for me, who would be my voice, because I was exhausted. Can you imagine repeating yourself and repeating yourself? And that's the thing, when people are in depression, they normally have to explain themselves and over again to different departments over and over again, and it gets exhausting, and then you lose track, and then it's held against you because you said a word wrong, or you've got something wrong, or I can't remember dates for me. Can you retain the dates? Not really. I'll retain the trauma. That's what I retain.
So I just start.
I retain names. Who was good and who's trauma. I retain, and I think what I'm teaching people now is their rights to have a right to be free from abuse. I then went on to get training to be suicide assist trained. So therefore, if you come with me and you're telling me you're suicide, I'm there to talk you down. Only thing is, not a piece of paper can tell me how to talk you down. I'm going to tell you how to talk you down. Cut the crap, man. What is the problem? Everything you can change the circumstance, you know. You can, if you're willing to put in the work to change the circumstances. So don't tell me there's no hope when there is, because I'll tell you, when I was feeling suicidal, it was because of a man. Change the man or change the outcome. When I was feeling suicidal at school, it's because I didn't know how to tell somebody that I was being, somebody was fondling me, that they shouldn't have. You know, I didn't know how to say it. So I took it that way out because I didn't know how to express. And I was too busy trying to protect other people of, oh my God, if I tell them, then my mum and dad or even my friends might take over ownership. This is where I'm getting passionate now about what I'm saying. Ownership about how I feel and try and take matters in their hands, which will then put fear in me, thinking I'm going to lose those ones that I've just opened up to. So this is why people keep secrets and they end up self-harming and self-sabotaging. And I'm here to teach you at the end of the day, if you stop trying to take over people's emotions and let them talk without judgment and let them come out with a plan and how they can handle things better.
It's just what people want to be listened to and you know, be able to express themselves without any fear of judgment. I mean,
we are up against the system, aren't we, Susan? We're up against boyfriends or girlfriends that may be causing trouble. Somebody might have done something to your home mortgage. There's all amount of paperwork that comes with your life. So when you're having troubles, this is a tip back for people. Sorry, a lot of people won't like me for this, but a lot of people will love me for it because I think knowledge is power. When you're having issues where having to prove yourself, get your subject access, get your data. They keep calling it different terminologies, request of our, there's short terms for this, that, and the other. But the bottom line is the information they carry about you. You want to know about dates, times, when you spoke, who you spoke to. Then at the end of the day, get your information. When you want to discredit people that call you liars, I will tell you that it comes in handy, you know. And I think throughout the process of a lot of people, when I feel that they can be injustice, it's why we have the ombudsman to carry out these procedures, which is a long, tedious procedure when someone's being bullied between housing, etc. Tedious procedure sometimes, and you're getting backwards and forwards. Meanwhile, the victim is going through processes of not being able to concentrate. Perhaps it's affecting her loved ones and the children and all of those things, or he or she. So you'll find that between housing, mental health, police and whatever else, that's the way of the world. That's the way of the world.
I was going to ask you, like, obviously you went through all the stuff about the housing and stuff, and it was like one step.
I won them all.
They're tired.
I won my cases.
Where did you get your energy though? When you, if that had been me, shoe on the foot, I would have given up and said, you know what, fuck it. But
that's what they wanted. The last time, my last stint and hospital visits was what they wanted. They wanted to make me give up through paperwork, saying no, you can't have, even though you've gone out your way to prove. I think sometimes you've got institutional racism that goes underneath, and I think at the end of the day, even if you, when you start ticking the box, have you got mental health, have you got this, this is why you've got choices to be treated like a human, or you can choose to tick that box where it says it's optional. I stopped ticking that box, optional box. I want to be treated as a human, and if it's equality, then we don't need to tick a box. All right. And I think I started working and understanding the Equality Act. You say energy, when you're fighting for survival, and that means you're fighting to clear your head from that suicide thought, then you'll try something else. And I kept knocking and knocking. I really don't want to die here. I just want this pain to stop. I want them to stop doing what they're doing to me. And I know that it's not in my mind, because I've got to witness plenty of them, including victim support and all of these, saying, it's really bad how they're treating you. And that's how I found when I deal with clients that they've been mistreated as well, or they've got their voice, they've not been empowered with their rights, where to go, what to do. So I become an advocate. And I think, you know, my energy comes from when somebody says, thank you, last night I was going to kill myself, today I'm alive. because you stopped and you spoke. So I think,
exactly.
you can. I've just got words are powerful, when they come through your door. You can and you will. So that must be the word for the day. I just had a message come through from my screen, and it was from somebody that I have a spiritual connection with, and it just said, you can and you will. That must be the word for the day. You can do anything and you will it, and you will get there, because it all started for me when if you help someone, you can't go backwards and say that you can't help yourself. If you can help them, when it comes to when it comes to you, you've got to help yourself. So I wanted to, because my face was all over the internet, all on YouTube, all over Google, Twitter. I'll put them all out. Just put in my name, Kerry Mussington, and you'll see a wealth of work that I've done, interviews, whatever, because I needed to set that example. I needed to be a leader. So I fight against racism. I stand up against discrimination. I definitely stand up and teach you about the Freedom Program, which is against domestic abuse, to teach you about where this is coming from. Because again, control, and even if that form comes into the way of sexual control, even at a young age, it's still a controller. So we need to teach you about to come out of the hands of the controller and be empowered to control your own destination. And you're not going to know that destination unless you hear messages and be willing to listen to other people. So if you went for a job interview, they'll say you need this. You're going to say, right, okay, well, if I get this, and this, there's a possibility I could be doing this now. But then that means you applied action to get to that destination. So if you're not going to apply action into your life, then what does your life look like? Is it EastEnders on a scale? Is it get up? Is it not do anything? Just if you change one little thing about your life, it's a change. One of the things that I'm doing now, and I teach everybody else to do, is learn to date yourself.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah. A lot of people think they need a man. A lot of people think they need a man. I was one of them because I was promiscuous, because that's what you're groomed, aren't you? You're groomed into that world. And I was one of them thinking, oh, but I want to be loved. I want to be loved. I want to be loved. But who wants to love somebody who wants to be miserable all the time? Of course, there's something good about you. If we can maintain majority of it and find the good in the day with that person, we could be good. But, and it is true, isn't it? When we've got friends, if we know our friends are sad all the while, we're more reluctant to be around them. Yeah. We'll call you, how you doing? But when they don't change the record, as I call it, then we're more reluctant to, we'll give them ideas, but if they won't apply the action to the change, we're more reluctant to give up trying to sort of keep putting ideas on the table when they're not going to apply anything. So I say to my friends, have a date with me, cup of coffee at least over the phone. That's a change. Because I think one of the things in life is that we miss people. We once have a good relationship with them, and then for some reason they're off doing their own thing. They forget, they maybe whatever, and we miss them. We just only wish hey, remember me? Catch up every now and again. Perhaps share some of the knowledge and that you've learned. If you're somebody that's created a business, show your friends the way of business, because that's what people don't pass on, is the knowledge of business. So I do. You want to know how about business? I'll teach you about business, how to structure it. Because I went to school. I went to the uni or college to understand that business, to become a business and enterprise. But if it wasn't for the person that stopped and spoke to me, that idea, because I wanted to go a different way. No, I want to be here. No, you don't need to be doing that right now. You need to be doing that. And I thought, who are you telling me what I need to do? Yeah, but if you get something behind you, it's much more beneficial for you. And then you're accredited. And I thought, do you know what? I'll apply then. So I applied for this entrepreneur school of entrepreneur.
Oh.
And it was free of charge. Yeah.
Right.
And you had to go through stages. And one of the stages is apply first. The next stage is Dragon's Den, they call it. And I thought, really, I'm going on Dragon's Den? Well, of course it wasn't really those people, but the concept is the same. You've got 3 minutes to sell your idea. And I stayed up and thought, I got through 3 minutes to sell my idea. Okay. All right, so I started practicing 3 minutes, and I realised I spoke for England. So if I can't cram this in 3 minutes, can't. And I started being scripted, and in the end, I went,
Nah.
"This is enough. I'm not a scripted person." Right?
No.
I said. I walked in there. I said, "Right, this is what I want to do. I want to reach people with mental health." I said, "There's a 6 months late waiting list currently on the NHS, and I'd like to fill that space by offering workshops, open talk therapy, and education around borderline personality disorders and any other diagnoses that unsettle the underlying issues of depression, you know." And I want to help and provide a platform, and this is how I'm going to do it. So I started off with a WhatsApp group, to build on a WhatsApp group on a daily basis, because I thought we needed a check-in. I felt that mental health, we needed a daily, when we're in a crisis, we really do need a check-in just for about a week or so. Are you okay? How's it going? Are you structured? Have you got a plan? You know? And then I realized that it took 3 weeks to break someone's thought process. I realized that they were on the way of discovering a new journey after a couple of weeks of, you know, that one-on-one with them to implement that change, to give them ideas, to come up with their diary.
I'm getting trained down tomorrow. I'm coming to you tomorrow.
That was my research. I realized. So then I launched this project. I got through the Jaggers Den, got through the next process, and all through going through that process, I was actually being discriminated and bypassed on my housing. So each time I got first for a house, they told me I couldn't have it. That went on 14 times. So I had the ombudsman case going on, etc. as well, because I thought, no, these people can't do this to me. And I'm trying to get my life together. But my good news came when they said I got through my course. I'm now an entrepreneur. You're an entrepreneur. And then I got, you've been successful for your house. You finally can get an accommodation. So it all came at the same time. I finally had accommodation. I had a business. But this one woman came along in the middle of a crisis, through that crisis. And I think when she came in, it was a housing problem. I said, I know. I've been through this myself. Let me show you the way. I'm currently almost at the end of it, but let me show you the way. I know what the rights are. I know what action to play, and I know they have a legal duty to safeguard you. As I, as a member of the public, do not need to be an organisation. Anyone can do this. Safeguard you and say, I feel this person needs help. I feel it's an unhealthy, inhumane situation, and I want to safeguard this person. So I started writing to the MP, I started writing to the council. I took over the mental health care, because the mental health wasn't there.
As soon as they said Kerry Mussington, think, oh God, here she comes.
And I actually started working with the organisations, because whilst these people are on the waiting list, well, they can't wait. So I started working with them. So I started to problem solve for them, get one of the people, I think I've housed about 4 people since starting the project, because I realized they had the rights under the protective characteristic, and also when they're victims of perhaps abuse, etc. as well, or something, you know. So it's recognizable. But you're talking about people that were on the brink, did take their life, tried to take their life, and it failed, and they're just trying to prevent themselves from feeling empty by wanting that stability. Stability is key.
Absolutely.
Stability is key. And when the stability isn't there, that's when the depression
sets down. Yeah, exactly.
And if we ain't got no one to talk to, then you will find out that, for me, I used to be drinking, I used to do drugs, not the hard ones, I'll say. I would say cocaine was a very hard one for me. Things that I didn't even know that I was actually doing. You know, it's about waking up. What was you doing to yourself? But the alcohol, I still toy with that when I'm angry. I toy with, I can't do that. I know I am angry. I know who's doing it. Let me report it, and let me speak out, instead of going to the bottle and self-harming. Because if you drink, then comes in the depression, then comes in the other unhealthy coping strategies, then comes in the anger. I'm more challengeable. I will challenge you if I've had drink, and I won't care. You see, that's the problem.
No,
I won't
exactly.
care. I like to lead the little beast back where she can be. She doesn't need to fight in that mannerism anymore. So by putting down that alcohol was a big change. So what I'm doing is facing the world sober. And when I said to you earlier about being clean, about not putting any marks on my arms or anything like that without going into the method, I mean, that is, people are not rewarded when they realize that they stop doing that part, that unhealthy part that makes you bleed. That needs rewarding, because if you are clean from doing that, then that's the same as no different really from anybody else that had been clean from, I'm clean from alcohol, or I'm clean from heroin, or I'm clean from whatever. That needs to be noticeable that they're clean from doing that, because that's a big major change. Although I know that some people can take that unhealthy coping reason and probably plunge it into something else. Me, I plunge it into, I've been, like I said, learning to date, learning to talk more openly and honestly. I mean, sometimes I can just talk about your stuff, but I can have real stuff going on inside of here. And I do have someone I can go vent to, someone I can talk to, somebody who's going to advocate for me, somebody who's going to help me in my struggles. And then and then there's people at the end of the day that say they're going to help, and then they end up being a hinder. So I can be faced with the same as everybody else. Judgment, criticism, ridicules. But it's learning to understand and channel it in another way. And what I've come to understand is just a quick good tip. Is that most of the crap that we endure is coming through a device nowadays, isn't it? If I say to you, if I was to hold up a device, this is my device, and I say to you, such and such has just written this about me. Oh, this is going on. If I didn't read that, it couldn't affect me. So I just want to let people know that the power is in your hands to unfriend, to block, to delete, to implement the images that you want to see, the things that you want to read. Because I noticed that a lot of people on Facebook, some people are complainers, and when they're a complainer, it can be a turn off for their whole life, and they can be rejected just because somebody that who may want to know them has read their Facebook post and realized that they're negative through their post. So sometimes we can express how we feel, but we should do it wishing the best of all intentions. If only other people would be this or whatever. I think it's all about the wording, what we're putting in our mind.
Sometimes it's hard to word it, like what I said to you something earlier on, but we're not going to it. But I didn't realize, it might have been a trigger. So makes you mindful of what's coming out your mouth. Basically, think before you speak. And anything you just said, like, and it must be positivity coming my way, because if anything comes negative to me, it's like I'm not dealing with it. If it's not making me smile, it's not making my heart sing, then.
But the problem is, a lot of people avoid telling someone how they've made them feel, whereas I don't. I'll probably like the last word. Well, you know what? This is how I feel about it. If you're not willing to reach a compromise, which you don't have to, but all I ask for is respect. But where I've been, I think lately, what I'm teaching people is about gaslighting, for making a decision for yourself and saying, I don't want this behavior. Some people will challenge you and force you into doing things by saying you should do this or you should do that, or they will ostracize you, give you the silent treatment or whatever, and still be on your Facebook page and do that manipulation game. So really, if somebody's mistreating you like that and they can't talk to you, the power is in your hands.
True, I know.
So for me,
to deal with, because I tend to get angry and I tend to kind of stagnate with them. So I need to.
But what is the anger? So identify. You see the emotion that you're using. If you can identify the anger, you see you're using a word. You can say anger. Now I would like for you to break down that word. What emotions are going to come out with that? Not just one word. Anger. So anger. I resent that. I resentment. I feel revengeful. I'm one of the things that I think we struggle with, because we are empaths, is not to do the revenge. We don't want to do the revenge because it makes us feel bad. We know what it feels like. So then we internalize that, and it makes us feel 10 times as worse. But the fact that we don't carry out the revenge makes us a better person.
I know. I hear you. This is what I need to do. I need to do. That's to just let the anger settle. Because all this
it's ego. It's ego. A lot of it is ego. So if we get into the domestic violence realm, when somebody's disciplined, it's ego. They need their ego fulfilled. Do as I'm said, or this is the consequences. And secretly we plot how to even get back at someone. And that might be smarmy. It might be, I know, I'll educate in this way today, or I'll do that. Or it might just mean I'll just come away entirely. For me, I like to leave education. Read it and weep, I say. I think I'm more, since doing lives, I realize how much power I have. And if you don't like it, tune into another channel, I say. But I'm here to save lives. I'm here to prevent harm. I'm here to offer solutions. And like on a Thursday night, we have another workshop, and that was created between myself and another platform. And we call that Queens on the Couch, because it's about women. Women give time for others to express. And that's all I'm doing. So we're giving from one idea, from one project to another project, just creating little projects out of a project.
Right.
So so I'll be running
the depression courses that you do. I take it that's, well, obviously it's where you live, or is it on a Zoom thing, or can it be done that way?
If you want to talk into, you get talking to at any time. But what we talk about, I used to do an open talk workshop about depression, and I called it Tackling the Underlying Issues of Depression. So I used to run that every week in the community, and I did it particularly for the borderline. If you had the borderline personality disorders, because no one's doing it. There's only one organization that was doing it, that I know of, and even that's a big queue. So I wanted to tackle the underlying issues of what's causing your depression for the day, because we're not about going, and this is what people need to get in your head. When we want to see a therapist, we don't really want to say, well, when I was younger, I was abused. Well, this happens. And he did this and he did that. We know that happened. But that's not what you're asking. You're asking for a way to remove all this negative, nasty energy that you're feeling. You want to get up in the morning. You want people to like you. You want to be included in something. You want to start getting your ideas, and you want to be doing that free from harm. And you also want to be able to manage your emotions, and be understood. And so those workshops, I found that they can go out in the community, but they can be done online as well. So it's a lot of people come to me. I literally don't let them wait. I give them time there and then.
Right.
You've come through. How do you know me? Why have you come to me? Why did you come to me? Because I've resonated with something I've said, and it's because we share a very similar background, don't we? So that's where it's where I can identify. So if we can identify that pain without having to go into the background of it, we then say, right, what's your situation like now? What do you want to do that you perhaps feeling, God, I wish I could do that. I just want to do something. What is it? So this is where I ask people to start creating have they got a diary at start, a calendar at start? Have you got a blog? Have you got a YouTube? Every tool you want to recreate yourself is there. So I do my best to supply ideas. Right. It's up to them if they want to put a list down there. If they don't do the ideas, that's entirely up to them.
Exactly.
I'm just one woman giving information.
Exactly.
Yeah. And
you can get the information, and it's up to you how you tackle that information, what you do with that information. Yeah.
And for me, I don't turn anyone away. I do speak to men, and I do speak to women. I can relate to men's side of things, I suppose, as well, and women. When men said women don't understand, we do, because you created it. We gave birth to these, you know what I mean?
Exactly,
we do. The power and greed. I mean, for me, I say I do understand, because I think the power that was taken from me
Yeah.
were by men. Yeah. So, and I think sometimes men send in other women to do their reinforcements in the time, and this is where you get affairs and things like that in life, don't you? So I think at the end of the day, they said this is a man's world, but it'll be nothing without a woman or a gal. And I'm going to sit there and say, nah, God is a woman. If we are, I am. I think you're responsible for yourself, which is the word I am. Whether you're a man or a woman, pain is pain, emotion is emotion, reaction is reaction, and action is action. And if you're going to put your hands on someone because of the reaction, you can't master your reaction, whether you're a man or a woman. Whether you put your hands on yourself because you don't know how to manage the reaction, whether you're a man or a woman, we have to find a better solution to managing those emotions. Therefore we can master the anger and leave the little beast inside. I mean, I went on anger management course once, and she described it. It wasn't how I expected it to be, because I wanted to reel off and say, but when I did this and this, but it wasn't. What she described was a volcano. That volcano is always rumbling in it, and eventually it builds up this pressure, and somewhere it's got to just vent out. And what we don't want to do is we don't want that building up. We don't want people venting out like that. We want to be able to keep it calm at a reasonable level, you know? So it's about replacing the unhealthy coping strategies with better coping strategies. Believe me, I still cry. I cried today. And when I cry, I might go and do a live as well. But I'm not crying when I'm doing the live. I'm now explaining just exactly what I went through and why I felt this way. And I explained to someone, and it then leads into a topic. It means that, right, what I've just experienced, there's millions of people experiencing what I've been. And that's one of the things is like communication. When it comes to my own self, and I want to explain to somebody about a situation, I'm dealing with trauma. I'm having to go back sometimes to deal with those traumas and the triggers. And then I get annoyed because they want something from me. And hold on a minute, if I didn't have to explain this over money, more like it, or something like that, then I wouldn't be frustrated.
It's the dead thing. I've watched the video. Yes, I could see. I thought she's getting angry here. She's getting angry.
But I resolved it.
Yes,
because they wiped my debt off. Because at the end of the day, I don't feel that many of us victims or survivors, however you want to call yourself, we're being punished for some kind of past that we're trying to be moving around away from. And that's called discrimination. So if you know anything about the Discrimination Act, at the end of the day, that's something you should apply in your everyday life. That yesterdays are yesterdays. Can we be forgiven for some of the things that when we weren't in our right mind, or we was in a state of chronic depression, you know, and you're the one that diagnosed this and said this is how we handle life. So please give us some reasonable adjustments along the way then. So let's get some understanding here. If I'm guilty of something, I'm guilty. I'll tell you I'm guilty. I'll be the first to tell you, yep, it happened, but this is the reason why, you know. I think life I find is intriguing. And next year, in a few weeks' time, I'm going full force in now, because I'm going to be training people to join my project to help people against domestic abuse.
Oh, wow. Wow.
So if you've been a woman and you experience, this is a way of giving back. And it's almost like taking back the power.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. Never experienced domestic. No, not domestic abuse. No, I never was lucky.
Well, I'm going to do the man one as well. I'm going to do the man one where I can teach the men perpetrators.
Yes, absolutely.
The male perpetrators. But there are women perpetrators as well, so we must get that put an equal. I like to be equality, and I want to talk about equality. No one's above.
Yeah. So you can have somebody attacking you going on. It's all about the women. It's all about the women. Yeah,
no, it happens to men. No, I've got men and women on the platform, which is the MOM project, Mental Health Awareness.
Yes.
Suicide prevention, something like that. Real talk. Look at that. Speaking out saves lives. It's all about it. But you know, so we've got that going on. The reason why I did the Facebook was just an extended arm to get the awareness out there. I thought if you've got a platform, then you can put material so the members can also express in a healthy manner. They also live by the guidelines, which is no degrading treatment, no naming and shaming, no belittling and public humiliation, and no promoting the method. So then instructions are there. That's been going for a couple of years now. And I remember saying, oh my God, I've got 300 people following my idea, following the message that speaking out saves lives. And I was just like, see, that would never have happened if I kept shy. If I was to remain shy and let people walk over me, that never would have happened. So fighting back for my rights was fighting back for my voice. And I haven't stopped since.
Yeah, so that's the Kerry Mussington rule for life. Keep that gob going.
Yeah, keep it going.
If you're passionate about something, then kick it in the ass, get it out there.
And question life, because people say, I know what I'm talking about. It doesn't matter what you know, what you're talking about. People still have to find out for themselves what is right. And information, somebody might have an easy way of doing it. Somebody might have a different way of doing it. But this is what I'm saying. When we hook onto different mental health platforms, some people speak live, some people don't, depending on what the group's like. And those that are speaking live, they're not saying that they're God's gift to everything. They're literally saying, look, this is what helped me, and this is, I'm just giving you the information back. But some people also almost ridicule and belittle other people when they are doing it. And I'd like to say, for one day, you do it, because it's very difficult putting your private business out there, putting your face out there, and you're going to be judged. And we know that, but that's the risk that we took. So we've already been judged our whole life, you know. But here you are, interviewing me.
Well, I don't know. You did most of the talking.
I did. I'll shut up now. So go on then.
No, it's been extremely acknowledging, inspiring, various other things. Listening to you, I must admit, it's given me a little bit of, bit of strength, a bit of gung ho, to say, it's kicked me up the arse. But no, it's been very interesting, absolutely interesting. I could listen to you all night. Yeah, definitely. This is what I love, these conversations. I love philosophical conversations about life, about mental health, or dealing with the mind and people's traumas and what's going on in their life, because it's fascinating. It's sad, but it's fascinating, and it's sometimes it's inspiring, and as well, like, because you get the motivation and the courage from other people's stories, which helps me. That it must help other people. It's positive, and that's what sometimes I feel I lack. Sometimes in my life is positivity. I always think to myself, I just want to go to a big island where everybody laughs and smiles and everybody's positive. It would be so much different.
But you can. So it's just applying action. Get your calendar out. Get a plan. One of the things that I did do, I mean, coming out of my comfort zone has been pretty difficult over the years. And I remember isolating myself where I wouldn't go into town for a few years. If I did, I'd stay to the side of the wall. That was because of mean treatment, people's words when they meet you, rather than say, hi, how you doing? It was, oh, you put on weight, didn't you? And you've not, and I just lost weight. But then somebody comes and says that and knocks your self-esteem down, doesn't it? So then you didn't do the avoidance. And even though people think you're confident in the ability, in my role, what I call job, what I call volunteer my services, I volunteer my knowledge, confidence there, yes. Confident internally, as a woman, I'm working at it, I'm still working at it, I'm still.
It can be great on the outside, and people would used to say that to me, thinking, oh, you're always laughing and joking, and you're so confident and stuff. On the outside, I always
grabbing those moments, grabbing that moment.
Tears of a clown, when you look at clowns, or you look at all the comedians in the world, half of them suffer from depression, and that's their kind of
use that as a way of expressing. The same as dance, isn't it? Yeah.
Absolutely. So definitely. Oh no, I'd love to be doing half of what you're doing, Kerry, honestly.
Nothing stop. Nothing stop. Did you just hear what you said? And I just said to you, everything is possible. So, right, I said to you on Thursdays, we have Queens on the Couch.
Yes.
And that is open for women. And therefore, at the end of the day, you can ask questions, pose a question, and we will all answer that question. And so you've got different versions of how we view things, different influences of where somebody might say, this is where you can get that information from. So without information, giving information back. If you want to do more interviewing on topics, I always say to people, you're welcome to sit beside me and learn interviewing skills and actually pose questions. I can give you some authors, I can give you some singers, I can give you people who are willing to be interviewed. I'm one of those women that if you take a topic and you say, Kerry, I want to talk about this, most likely within myself, which I call a human library, I might have been able to answer that topic based on my own life skills. So yes, rape, yes, date rape, yes, child abuse, yes, online grooming, yes, domestic abuse, hold on a minute, yes, fraud, yes, drugs, anything that we are walking library we've done, we can talk about it. Yes, breastfeeding, yes, grief, if there's something we can talk about, how do you handle grief? What did you do? Did people give you the information? And that's what you'll find is people are looking for the information, what to do and how to deal with it. And they don't understand that even when they're having a breakup from a relationship, instead of using the word, I just broke up with my boyfriend, identify it that you're grieving for something that you once had.
The grief, isn't it? Yeah, absolutely.
Something you once had, you had a plan, it's not there no more, and you might not never see them again. So therefore, this is where, I don't want to be here anymore. You've got to do it to your kids to show your kids the right way.
Absolutely.
Not to lead them down the road of depression and send them to the doctor and say, here's a quick fix for that. Let's get to the root issue of why are you depressed. So we need to learn to speak more to one another.
Yeah, I mean, you get 10 minutes or so with your GP, so you haven't got room, you haven't got time to talk. And
the GP is not there. He's not there to diagnose your mental health. That's the secondary mental health care. And then in secondary mental health care, you have probably a couple of assessments before they will even diagnose you or whatever. So from there, it's try these tablets. It's not the answer.
I must tell you, a couple of years ago, I was stressed out to the nines. I was in tears. I'd never self-harmed, but this day I did. I called my friend. She came. She took me down to the doctors. I got an emergency appointment. I had to sit in the waiting room for an hour, stressed to the nines. Anyway, eventually got in. Kind of told my brief history of things that happened to me, and from the rape to sexual assault, divorces, blah blah blah. And you know what he said? He looked at me and went, well, I really don't know what to do with you. I was like, you're a GP, you're a doctor here. And I walked out the surgery thinking, well, what's the point? Nobody cares. Not even a doctor would, help me. He didn't know.
And that's what's not clear, is it? It's not clear to the viewers that are watching that when we go to the doctor, he's actually not there for your mental health. He's there to assess what you may be going through, which he will identify that you're going through depression, what kind of state of depression you're going through, the level of depression you're going through may need intervention. I will tell you this. But when I got my certificate about suicide prevention, the assist training, they told us that I was more qualified than a GP that doesn't have one.
Well, that doesn't surprise me.
Helping you with the understanding about the stopping, getting you to change your thought process to stop the suicide. But that gave me great pleasure, and I thought, I like that.
I know.
The general practitioners, they're there to practice because you allow them to practice on you, and therefore they send you to somebody else who may be more experienced in that field to deal with your mental health. So it's understanding what each section is for, how they operate, what can they do? Even when you go to the mental health, secondary mental health care, they will then offload you to somebody else. So you'll find again, you're regurgitating until you get that one carer that you don't have to actually care coordinator that you actually, I don't need to explain anymore, because this is the last stop, and finally they're going to help me on my way to recovery. And so really it's just having someone there and then at the end of that situation to help you on your path. And then I mean, a lot of people get attached, and I got very attached to my particularly my last care coordinator, because she listened to me. She's the one I felt listened to. I think she's the one that, because I saw her face on a weekly basis, she gave me something to look forward to other than my dreary little B&B that I was living in at the situation, trying to recover from the trauma that I was going through. So I think having someone to look forward to talk to, or some event to look forward to, it makes a big difference on your mental health and keeps you alive for the day. You know, I made the national paper. I made the Sun newspaper. That's right. Yeah, I made the Sun newspaper. All right, I don't know the header much, but still at the end of the day, I was telling a story. And the story that I was telling is that I was addicted to my medication. And it wasn't like addiction. I was self-sabotaging, you know, in a sense, whereas then I had to go to the doctors and he had to put a limit on the medication, so I can't have that medication, because I couldn't cope at the time, the situation that I was in. So I think homelessness, that homeless journey, has a big impact on a lot of people. We must spare thought for those that are probably in B&Bs as well, or hostels, etc., because that in itself is a very tough situation to be in. And like I said, stability is key. Managing our emotions is key. We have good, we have bad days. We're not saints, we're not robots, but we're learning in our own time to change and break that cycle. And it might take us years. It took us 48 years to identify it. So it's going to take a long time to sort of break certain.
This thing when it all started around the age of 9. I'm 57 now, so nearly 50 years.
Yeah.
God, if I had all this knowledge I have now back then, that's why I always agree that schools should really start early, you know, talking about these different illnesses, how to cope with it, you know, with the CBT,
parents,
therapy.
Guardians. The responsibility, I say, lies with you. It starts with your home environment, because one of the things that I know is that at school, my home environment was not very good. When I went to school wasn't very good. There was no outlet, so the outlet became myself. And so that's where I started to learn at the age of 13 years old how to destroy my life. And I had many attempts of suicide, many different ways, and most will say this is why I don't promote the method, because I learned the blinking things from the TV. I learned them from somebody else or friend that implemented it, how they told me how they tried to do it. And this is why I say, when you're talking to your friends, when you're talking to your family, just say you felt suicidal. You don't have to say how you did it.
No, exactly.
You're planting the seed. You know, we have a responsibility to teach right and help where we can. So that's me in a nutshell. I'm a helper. I'm not a hinderer. I'm a helper.
And the world needs more helpers, that's for sure. God.
Well, you can join me if you want. So you know where I am. You just want to say, Kerry, I want to do, and you can do it. And if you're going to raise awareness under Mind Over Matter, what it stands for, I'm happy to do that, because you know, in Mind Over Matter, we're representing what we stand for. That's saving lives. Speaking out saves lives. Support saves more. And I think if we didn't learn to speak out, if I didn't, this platform wouldn't be here, would it? Oh, we can't freeze on that situation there. We're back. I'll let you have the final words and see us out.
See us out. Well, wake up every morning. Where are you coming
from? Leave this house. Leave your history, darling. Leave your history, I say.
Wake up every morning, put a smile on your face, and be happy that you've got another day to live, and that life is so short that it has to be good, and it has to be with love, and it has to be with care and empathy and understanding for your fellow human being. Absolutely.
Absolutely. You heard it first from Susan Taylor. I don't even know where you're coming from. Where are you coming from?
East Kilbride, just outside Glasgow.
Okay. And I'm coming from a place called Suffolk, and that's SUSS for Freddie. OLK.
I went on holiday once to Corton on Suffolk.
Who?
Corton on Suffolk.
Cotton.
Corton, Corton. It was in Suffolk. I went on holiday there many years ago.
Curtain.
Is that how you pronounce? Sorry.
Is that near Felixstowe?
I don't ask.
I think it sounds like curtain. C-O what?
Corton, Corton in Suffolk.
I don't know where that is. See?
Oh.
Don't know where it is. But yeah, I like to tell people where I'm coming from in the world, because I'll just let you know that I'm representing your area.
Yeah. Coming to an area near you soon.
But I'm already there. This is already worldwide. I mean, I help people worldwide. Where are you? You're in Scotland. Glasgow. Sorry, you're in Glasgow. You know,
yes.
and you reached out to me in a sense to and we connected. Yeah,
absolutely. It's a social media. It has its pros and cons. Yes.
This was amazing. Thank you so much, Susan, for
keep in touch.
Hold your best smile out and hold your background right there. I'm just going to stop
a new friend.
There we go. This is Susan. Thank you very much. I'm Kerry Mussington. Susan's joined Mind Over Matter Project Suicide Prevention today. She's been asking questions, raising awareness, talking about her own experiences. You know, what you take out from this information. I know it's very educational. You know, it takes a brave woman to speak out, brave men and women, you know, or whatever you want to call yourselves nowadays, to speak out. You know, love all. That's all I can say. Equality for all. You know, we are human beings, and we just want to be nurtured, loved, replenished with education, and get out there and do something worthwhile.
It's simple, but sometimes it's just so bloody hard. But no,
it's all about changing the words. That's the first rule of thumb. Changing the words.
Changing the words, right?
That's right. It's going to stop the live stream in the background. Thank you very much.
Thank you. See you later. Bye.